All right. The report of the city manager, 3.1. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity. Lot to cover. Want to start off with our recognition, as we do every week, and want to start off with a non-COVID related recognition, and that's the 2020 Silicon Valley Business Journal's Women of Influence. We have two people in our organization that are being recognized this year. The first is Jackie Morales-Fernand, our Director of Housing. Jackie's being honored for all the work that she's doing to keep our vulnerable residents safe during the COVID pandemic. Her work on eviction moratorium and other emergency protections for renters has helped countless families remain in their homes throughout this public health crisis. She's also led the city's actions to protect our homeless community, including establishing temporary shelters, connecting unhoused residents with county medical services, and deploying services like portable showers, toilets, and hand washing stations to the homeless community. And really, this work has, I think, helped the city slow the spread of COVID, prevent the loss of life, and has kept families together. And I really think that Jackie's efforts and her team's efforts really represent the best of San Jose, our humanity, our spirit of inclusiveness, and our community, our commitment to helping the community that needs us so desperately. So thank you, Jackie, and congratulations to Jackie. The second person is Helen Chapman. Most of you know she's a policy and legislative advisor in Councilmember Menez's district. Helen is being honored for her policy work and her history of serving our community. Helen has worked on issues such as land preservation in Coyote Valley, housing, homeless issues, parks and trails, our environment, and issues involving seniors and our community. Helen co-founded the San Jose Parks Foundation and served on the City Parks Commission. Helen is currently the president of the Shasta-Hanchett Park Neighborhood Association, the board secretary on the Abraham Lincoln High School Foundation, and is a member of the San Jose Conservation Corps and Chapter School Advisory Committee. So congratulations and thank you to Helen and thank you to Jackie. Next, I want to highlight the work, this is COVID related, and really haven't done this one yet, and that's really the fire department. You know, the fire department has been on the front lines from the very beginning. They activated their Department Operations Center back on March 10th, and that Department Operations Center is comprised of sworn and non-sworn staff. You remember, they were really one of the first public agencies in the nation to be hit by COVID. And the work that they did to really develop a plan to address, you know, the impacts, the safety plan, logistical plan, all the operational needs to address having members of our staff that came down with COVID. And this plan that was developed by our fire department really ended up being an example to many in the nation as they were coping with some of the same issues. I actually got contacted by quite a few city managers across the country back then on asking us how are we dealing with it. So just want to thank the fire department for their continued service through all of this. They've just done a wonderful job. Okay, I'm going to jump into the rest of 3.1 now. Just want to acknowledge that had a few more things that we were planning on bringing forward and discussing today, and just not able to pull that off given everything that's happened over the past few days and over the weekend in particular. We typically use the weekend to kind of to regroup and get ready for the week, and we just weren't able to do that this week given obviously everything going on with protests and some of the civil unrest. So what you will still see today from us is a presentation from Kip. He'll be providing an update on the county public health orders that were issued yesterday and take effect on Friday. So Kip will provide an update on that. Also an update on the cooling centers that we've activated, and also, as if we don't have enough going on, an update on power safety shutoffs based on some meetings that we've had with PG&E. And then we'll also provide an update by Jill on digital inclusion. And as I said, that's, I think, all we're going to be able to pull off today. We do have other things that we were queuing up that we'll bring back next week for an update. And so with that, I'll ask Kip to kick it off.
Hey, can I interrupt for a moment? Does that include the food agreement, or is that under the agenda item?
That's already on the agenda. So we will be hitting food item. We will be hitting certainly the mask item and certainly the curfew item later on.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Kip Harkness, Deputy City Manager and the Director of the Emergency Operations Center. On behalf of Lee Wilcox, my co-director of the Emergency Operations Center, and the 717 people deployed in emergency response, both in the EOC and the field, I want to give this brief presentation on some of the highlights of the last 7 days of work. As always, we are guided in our work by the roadmap, which focuses on compliance with the public health orders, reducing the spread of disease, provision of essential services, and supporting those most at risk. So delivered approximately 2.75 million meals. We have worked on a number of testing sites, including the PAL Stadium, which is now testing at well over 300 folks a day and is on the upward trend in terms of how many people are being tested. And we continue to work to provide shelter to a range of folks without shelter, both COVID related and non-COVID related. So as you know, there's an updated set of county health orders which were issued yesterday and will take effect on Friday. There are a number of changes to this. We are still absorbing all of them, but at the high level, they allow for additional businesses to reopen, subject, of course, to limitations in social distancing, including a broad range of outdoor dining, retail and shopping, and opening up childcare for all children, not just essential service workers, as well as clearly opening up all manufacturing, warehousing, logistics, home cleaning, and other low contact, no contact service businesses, watch and shoe repair. It also allows additional activities, primarily outdoor activities, small ceremonial and religious services outdoors, no larger than 25 people in a group, outdoor recreation activities that do not involve physical contact, including swimming, hiking, tennis, golf, etc., and camping, and our friend, the drive-in theater. Construction projects and safety protocols have been updated, with the threshold for essential infrastructure projects changed from 5 to 20, and specific steps to be taken if there is a COVID positive test at a construction site. So as I said, we're absorbing all of those, and we'll be communicating those out through you all to our constituent groups with our liaison work. It was a hot week last week, and so we did open up 5 community cooling centers with new social distancing protocol and health screening. No one actually was turned away due to the screening. We opened up 5 locations and had about 83 visitors over the 3-day course of last week's heat wave. We anticipate things to be heating up again this week. And while technically it would only normally be Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and open up Tuesday and Wednesday at the request from the county, all 5 locations, again, with the safety precautions in mind, the health screening, physical distancing, and making sure that folks are able to stay cool and safe. In addition, we had what I would characterize as an extremely productive meeting with PG&E to prepare for the upcoming wildland wildfire season, and where we went over a lot of the work that they've done in the past year and what we need to be doing together to prepare as a community, not only for potential wildfires, but for the anticipated power safety shutoffs that will accompany that. As a reminder, the power safety shutoffs are a PG&E protocol, which they are shutting down portions in the grid to minimize fire risk. And there's a number of factors, from red flag warnings to humidity to winds to fuel conditions and to on-time, real-time observation that cause them to call an event. It's not a single factor piece. So it's pretty complex. We do expect, looking at the historical averages, that we can expect 1 to 2 of these events a year in San Jose using the current protocol that the PG&E has put out. The additional information that they provided us, just one second. The additional information they provided us is that they are, here we go. They are working to make these smaller in size, shorter in duration, and what they're saying, smarter for customers. I think this is good news all around. The smaller in size includes sectionalizing the grid so that less of the grid needs to be turned off. The shorter in duration is adding in more crews and capability to stand back up the parts of the grid that are shut down. And the smarter for customers is using a lot more data and information to be strategic about when and how they do this, and contracting out with the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers to work with community-based organizations to do a lot more preparation work in advance. So I'll just give a little preview of what that will look like. We'll get a kit out as appropriate to the council and mayor, but they're encouraging folks who are baseline customers to get signed up, and they have a number of resources that are available to get people updated and ready. Bottom line is we expect we will be in power safety shutoff with PG&E probably again a couple of times this year, probably still deep within COVID. And so we are figuring out how to do things like the community resource centers with appropriate social distancing and safety protocols. And we are working tightly with them to have much better link to real-time access to information so that we can anticipate what's going to happen with greater accuracy and make sure we minimize the impact to the community. So the main piece I'd like to highlight this week is some of the work that's gone on with digital inclusion. And I'm going to turn it over at this point to Jill Bourne, our city librarian, who is also our director of our digital inclusion branch in the Emergency Operations Center, to take us through some of the work that she and her team have been doing on the digital inclusion front. Jill?
Thanks, Kip. You can go to the next slide. Yeah. This week, we have an update on the immediate connectivity solutions to areas with limited access. The team has created a priority index for visualizing the geographic locations where small cell deployment can fill current gaps, known as dead zones. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. We are currently discussing it with our telecommunications partners to both verify the data and finalize the locations for prioritizing deployment of small cells. We're also continuing discussion of developing a macro tower strategy. Next, we've finalized the process of matching incoming donations of funds and devices to the Digital Inclusion Fund with schools and student need by partnering with Santa Clara County Office of Education. We will have some exciting donations to distribute in the next few weeks, and we'll bring more updates on those as they emerge. Also, we had 2 successful device drives that have been conducted, receiving more than 120 devices over 2 days. So many thanks to the mayor's office and council members Davis and Arenas for co-sponsoring. We are planning to build out or creating a build-out plan for additional device drives and fundraising opportunities. And then lastly, city staff is also participating in the Digital Inclusion Collaborative Group meeting with a broad range of stakeholders that is being held tomorrow, June 3rd. Next. So this is the map that we've talked about, or one read on the map. To focus our work, we use data obtained from the American Community Survey, along with data from city-funded efforts, and created an index that shows the areas of highest need for access in our city, for digital access. The weighted index is organized at the census tract level and factors in density of K-12 students with poverty rates, households without internet access, and households without a computer. These factors show us the basic need for connectivity access in San Jose, but also to understand where there have been areas of opportunity to quickly advance existing work or leverage existing partnerships. We've also included the East Side Community Wi-Fi project areas and the SJ Learns grantee districts in the opportunity side of the index. So that lessens the need effectively. So overlapping district boundaries present a unique opportunity to leverage funding from multiple districts to serve students, as may be the case in upcoming community Wi-Fi build-outs. So those were included in the opportunity index as well. Combining the needs and the opportunities, we have prioritized areas for connectivity, which are stratified from deep pink to the highest areas of need in districts 3 and 5, and running through to purple as the next area to darker blue, and then shades of lighter blue where there is less acute need. So this priority index you'll hear us refer to as we are basing a lot of our strategies around, again, prioritizing small cell deployment and other strategies to ensure that we are addressing the gaps in access. So this analysis is focused on infrastructure, and as you know, also on census track, and we'll refer to it again in our next update. And moving on, sorry. We're also working on the full funding strategy and timeline for the Access Eastside Community Wi-Fi projects, which we plan to return to Council on June 23rd. The requested actions related to the funding strategy will include the agreement with SmartWave to expedite the Yerba Buena Attendance Area project, as listed here, and the next slide. 2 additional actions: amendments to the CDBG action plan, which will seek approval to dedicate funds to the next 2 areas, which are Independence and Oak Grove High School attendance areas. So again, more to come on this with a full funding strategy. This concludes our update for the week.
And then just one last piece as we close out related to digital inclusion. We are in communication with our telco partners on a potential partnership related to that, and we hope to be able to bring that forward to the council as a whole, probably at the same time that we bring together the funding strategy. But we have had very, very positive conversations and very robust proposal from the telcos in terms of connectivity options that they propose. And so we'll be working through the details in the EOC over the course of the next week. And should that come to a positive fruition, we will bring that quickly back to the council for their attention and understanding as we go forward. So again, I'll close very quickly on that because we have a lot of emergency related items on the overall council agenda. The 717 of us and the EOC and support remain focused on these priorities and have really felt very much for our community during this particularly difficult week. So with that, I turn it back over to you, City Manager Dave Sykes, for any additional comments and close.
Yeah, thank you, Kip, and thank you, Jill, for the update. And Mayor, that concludes our presentation, and we're ready for any questions.